What's going on, everybody? This is Don Martelli with the PR Bunker Podcast, here today to talk with Aaron Gouveia, of the PR Director for the Trustees of Reservations, talking about media and getting ink. You know, not tattoos, but ink, getting coverage for your clients and how to do that in a very, very fractured media environment. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the latest edition and podcast of the PR Bunker. I'm here with a good friend of mine, fellow former journalist, Aaron Gouveia. What's up, my friend?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. You and I cut our teeth in newsrooms, and today's media is vastly different. I'd love for you to describe your roots as a reporter and what you're doing now.
Yeah, like you said, I started off in journalism back 20 years ago. Not quite as long as you, but still a long time. Places like the Milford Daily News, Metro West Daily News, Cape Cod Times, did a little bit for the Herald. And really, most of my time was spent covering municipalities, going to board meetings, selectmen meetings. And, from there, you really kind of a couple things. You gain how to work on a deadline, which is great. You learn what is going to go and what's going to fly with media, with editors, what they're looking for. And also you learn how that whole process works with government approvals, which I use that as a springboard to jump to PR. And, we've had a lot of different iterations of that. So, sometimes it was, figuring out how to help pass a zoning development or a housing development, things like that, and being a journalist really helps because that they're going to cover these things, what they want to hear. And same with PR. So I'm the director of PR for the Trustees of Reservations, which is a nonprofit land conservation in Massachusetts, and they're a fantastic organization. They have 120 properties across the whole state, some of the nicest and most unique cultural and ecological unique places in the Commonwealth. And the problem is a lot of people know about the properties like Crane Beach, World's End, all these great places. They know about the properties, but they're not familiar with the Trustees of Reservations name.
So the association to the brand, basically, right? And the mission.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been on these properties and they haven't even realized it. So we've been working for years, and the Trustees, even before me, has done a really good job of connecting those dots a little bit. And for me, to continue that's just being in front of, regional and local media and feeding them all kinds of stories, whether it's property specific or programming that we do. And that ranges from, summer camps to places for romantic hikes to, to everything, cooking classes, community supported agriculture. We do stuff with with climate change. We have a State of the Coast report that came out focusing on North Shore communities and how underwater they're going to be in 20, 30, 50 years.
Yeah, in about 30 years, I'll have beachfront property here in Revere.
Yeah. I'd be careful.
Yeah, no doubt. So talk to me about, today's media landscape, between COVID, political unrest, societal unrest, and just the hyper focus on very important and extreme issues. And you are out there sort of, pitching stories about nature and location-based experience. How the heck do you get media coverage in amongst all that freaking noise when it comes to the media?
Well, it's been really interesting, and no one ever says, or no one should say that COVID is a good thing, because it's not.
Yeah, of course.
I'm a firm believer in that there are opportunities regardless of the circumstances. So when you look at these circumstances, the last year, what do you have? You have people in isolation. You have people stuck indoors. You have, people who can't gather together safely indoors. So, the trustees did a great job of looking at that and saying, okay, how can we adapt our properties to be able to help solve this problem? That's really all it is. And so you look, and some of the things we did in the summer, we turned one of our properties in Plymouth into a drive-in movie theater.
Nice.
So movie theaters were closed, but you could literally drive your car into this place, not have to deal with another soul, never leave your car, and watch an 80s movie at a really fun location. And the media wise, they're looking for stories that revolve around COVID somehow.
Yeah, good point.
And so when we adapted our properties, we went out far and wide to the press with that. So things like, we know that people can't gather in close proximity, but, outdoors, even in winter, we started fire pits.
Nice.
So at all these properties, we brought in solo stoves, and we allowed people to basically rent a fire pit for an hour, up to 6 people, masks, socially distance, all the COVID protocols in place. And the media went crazy for that because they know that their readers are looking for things to do that are safe. And, we're having these hikes outside. We're having these fire pits. We're having, there are some hikes that are, ales and art at DeCordova, Sculpture
Nice.
Park and Museum. You can go and you can tour it's an outdoor art gallery.
Yeah.
And you could tour this place and then have a craft brew afterwards.
That's
and
cool.
People are just, they're falling all over themselves for that. And the media wants to cover it because it's insanely popular with their readers. So you just got to tap into what's going on and what's important.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's just it's a layer of news jacking, but at the same time, it's you're right. I think other thing that benefits those kind of storylines is the fact that a lot of the news is, COVID numbers, deaths, vaccination rollout, whether it's working or not, what's going on at the White House. There's so much negativity out there. And if you can find a, thread of happiness and hope and, getting people together safely and those kind of narratives, it is newsjacking, but at the same time, you are, one, providing a service, I would say, in some way, shape, or form, because, you're right. I've been stuck in my bunker here since March of last year. And one of the things my wife and I often do, we'll take the dog and we'll hit the Middlesex Fells, or we'll go to Breakheart and take the dog for a walk in the woods. I've never really been a huge hiker, but now I'm all about it because it gives me an hour or two of time just out in nature and just away from the screen, away from emails, away from phone calls, but it gives me a chance to get out. And telling those kind of stories is, I think, what we just mentally need as a society these days. There's just so much shit out there. And I think that, like you're, jacking Valentine's Day. Talk about the audience about Jack and Love. How'd that pan out?
Well, every PR person, they latch onto these holidays, whether they're real or made up. And so Valentine's Day was coming up.
Those damn Hallmark holidays.
Yeah, they're made for PR people.
Yeah.
So we put together on our website a list of romantic hikes and, places that you could take, your partner and go for a walk and be in nature. And so, the Globe saw that and got a hold of it. So they asked for a bunch of properties on the North Shore, South Shore, and in the Metro West area. And they featured about 10 of them, so we
Nice.
made it. That's the trick, make it really easy for reporters. Mm-hmm. And you also have to be authentic because, one thing I'm really cognizant about is you can't force these things too much because people know when you're selling. Luckily for us, Trustees Reservations is a 130-year-old organization. We've been promoting getting outdoors for more than a century now. So this is all stuff we were doing before. It's all stuff that we believe in that fits with our mission. And now it's just taken on this hugely added level of importance because you're right. It really is a service. People want to get outside with their kids, especially this week during vacation. We have school vacation programming at some of our farms and some of our other properties where kids can do some stuff. We have summer camps coming up. So it really is a service and it's a good fit and it's authentic and that helps a lot. And that's why you're seeing so much coverage right now because people really want this content and the reporters and editors want to give it to them.
Yeah. It's a unique blend of newsworthiness, creativity, and timing, which I think is something that will always be present and relevant in PR, whether it was, 30 some odd years when I started in this business and then, a little less than you, but when you and I are, fully gray haired and the young bucks are behind us, I think that will still be relevant, whether it be telling stories on social media, podcasting, it's still about that timeliness, relevance and context. And I think that these kind of, love jacking and examples are dead on because you're right. I think there is a market for the content, which is king, because that way it's about eyeballs and clicks and all that sort of stuff. Talk to me about I guess the impact of this work since you've been there, and what are the trustees seeing in terms of lift? Do you see just more people at properties, and how do you track all that? What's success looking like from your perspective on PR?
Yeah, we're certainly seeing more people out, and to the point where when COVID first hit, we had to, and I wasn't even there yet, but we had to close all our properties for 2 weeks. And really, when you have to do that, then you really see how much people rely on your properties. That was a
Good
big
point.
deal to close 120 properties. And when we reopened them, we did so in a much different fashion. So a lot, I'd say more than 3/4 of these properties are free. You could just walk up to them anytime. You don't need to be a member, and you can go there. And we had to be very sure that we had added monitoring there because the parking lots were often full.
Yeah,
People weren't, they weren't used to the COVID routines yet, so they were too close together. So sometimes we'd have to close those down or, regulate the parking. We put in advanced pass system online for some of our more popular properties like Crane Beach. And so, we just had to adjust. We've been seeing a huge spike in visitorship. We've been seeing a huge spike in membership. So it's a great deal. It's for a family of 4, it's $70 per year to be a
short
member.
money.
I mean, it's short money. It gets you access to 120 places, and we've seen membership boom. Now we're over 70,000 households this year, just because people are seeing the need for this, and they want to make sure that they have that safety net if the COVID numbers kick back up.
Sure.
They want to be sure that they have a place to go. So, I mean, we're across the board. People. There was a renewed emphasis on where your food comes from, local eating.
Sure.
And so our community supported agriculture shares, which are the vegetable shares and the meat shares, they sold out for the first time in, more than half a decade this year. And we moved our farm store online, and that blew up. So it's been, it's been a great challenge, but it's one that we want to rise to because it really is a public service. So yeah, we're seeing, we're seeing increases everywhere, and we're doing our best to keep up with it.
Good stuff. A couple things before we finish up here. First one would be, if you were talking to your younger self getting into the PR business, what are the 3 things he should know about media and public relations these days?
Boy, I'm first of all a huge believer that the people who do this job best are former journalists. So I would say, get involved with journalism somehow, whether it's on a school paper or part-time. Learn how that process works, learn to work on a deadline. And, being on the other side of that phone call, when I was a reporter and I was getting, pitches up the wazoo, I learned what I liked, but more importantly, I learned what I don't like. So, I have a good understanding of what reporters will respond to and what they'll just throw in the virtual trash bin.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And number 2, keep it short. If you have to write a press release, then that's
what do you mean?
fine.
You can't write a pitch that's 10 paragraphs long?
Yeah, I mean, they don't want to hear it. They don't have the time for it. And so, I usually say to anyone I manage, whatever you have, basically cut it in half.
Yeah. It's the elevator. It's the 30 seconds in an elevator pitch, right?
Absolutely.
Totally get it.
No one wants your flowery prose on a press release. They just want you
Give
to get
me the
to
news.
the point. And then, I tell people to remember that it's not really about you or your organization or the product that you're offering. It's about, if you want coverage, it's about how you can help the reporter.
Yeah.
So make it as easy as possible, you put everything in there, give them pictures, give them, contacts, make it as easy as possible, spoon feed reporters so that they don't have to do as much work because they're busy. Yeah. And if they know that you're competent and you get them what they need and you respond to them quickly, then they're going to call you back, all the time. And you're going to be the first on their speed dial.
That is that's to preach all that stuff, because that's something that I think has been in existence for quite some time. I think when we were reporters, the volume of connectivity you get from PR people wasn't as much. But these days, I mean, I know I see it from my business at the Belfort Group. We pitch reporters all the time. It's just this onslaught. But having that kind of very simple approach about relevancy, brevity, and the relationship with the reporter is absolutely key, because you want them to use you as a source and you want them to trust you. So those are really good points. Obviously, you alluded to this, but you're a busy guy. I know you got 3 young kids. How the hell do you do all of that and do this job and then write 2 books? What's going on with your authorship? What's happening there? Talk about still a little PR for you. What are you doing on the book front?
Well, it's funny, you can be really good at PR for other people and be terrible at it for yourself, and that's certainly the case with me.
What the shoemakers kids go without shoes? Is that what the saying goes?
Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, I mean, I had a book come out. My first book came out in June. It's called "Raising Boys to Be Good Men." So I'm the dad of 3 boys, and it's all about overcoming toxic masculinity and
Mm-hmm.
figuring stuff out and raising boys to kind of break the cycle. So that's been out since June. We have a book. I say we because I co-authored it with my wife, which is
Nice.
we did this in a pandemic with remote learning and didn't get divorced. So that's
a win right there.
That's reason number one you should buy the book. But it's called Men in Miscarriage, actually. And it's about how, we had a bunch of losses, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember in that time years ago, no one really ever asked me how I was doing. And I wasn't doing well. And, so what I did was I went out and I interviewed as many men as I could and some women. We have a variety of perspectives in there, but I asked them how, going through infertility and miscarriage and pregnancy loss, how that affected them, how it affected their mental health, how it affected their relationships, how it, affected their outlook. And I found it was hard. Not a lot of people want to talk about that, but I found some great people who shared some immensely personal stories and turn it into a kind of a tip just from, to let men know that they are part of the conversation, that these things do matter, that it's okay to ask for help, that it's okay to, to be messed up about this.
Yeah.
And, that comes out in July. It's pretty personal. I'm excited about it.
Nice.
And it's my perspective mixed with my wife's perspective, and you should buy it just to see some of the bombshells she drops in there. Found out she had fibbed at me about a couple things during this process, and
there you go.
I found it out while doing this draft. So you go into the Google Doc and you see what she's written, and you're like, "Holy shit, what?"
Wow, that's interesting stuff, man. It's obviously now you're at a pace of a book a year. So what's next? What's the next one going to be out?
I have no idea. My publisher asked me that too, and I don't know yet.
Nice.
We'll take a little break.
There you go. Well, that's good stuff. Well, two things. Where can people find the current book and the one that will be coming out soon? Where can people find that?
Yeah, you can find it most probably the easiest is on Amazon. So that's
Okay.
It's either Raising Boys to Be Good Men or Men in Miscarriage. You can search those on Amazon or at skyhorsepublishing.com. It's the publisher's site. Or IndieBound if you want to go to the independent bookstores. It's either on sale in the stores or you can order it.
Nice.
And I appreciate it. Thanks.
No problem. If people want to get in touch with the trustees, how do they do that?
Go to thetrustees.org and there's a great map on there. It's a fairly new website from last summer. So all the places, 120 places you can check out, all the events, the programming, everything is there. And get outside even in the winter because this stuff is hard and it's I wasn't always a nature guy. I like fishing, so that was good. But I've gotten out to all these properties and been able to explore. I found some sledding spots for the kids. That's really cool. It's a great thing. So
last but not least, if people want to, pick your brain on the PR side and, get involved in your world, how do they find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me. I'm on Twitter at Daddy Files. That's the name of my blog from 2008.
Old school, like it.
Yeah. I stay on the Twitter. I gave up my personal Facebook just because. I hear that the old people are on Facebook now. I didn't want to be one
people
of them.
like me. Yeah.
That's good stuff. Tons of ways to get and my contact info is also on the trustees website.
Yeah. So basically Google me, right? Just Google me. I'm out there.
Yeah, just Google me.
Yeah, I'm out there. Good stuff. Well, dude, I appreciate the time. This has been great. So once the next book publishes, we'll do this again. And I'm sure the narrative around PR and getting ink will be basically the same, but I can't wait to see what you guys do with the trustee, what other news context you guys hijack to get coverage in the local newspaper. So good stuff. Congrats.
Thanks, Don.
No problem. Thanks for tuning in to the latest edition of the PR Bunker podcast. I am Don Martelli. You can find more episodes of this podcast on prbunker.com, as well as Spotify and Apple. Otherwise, you can find me on the socials at Big Guy D, across Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and the like. In the meantime, keep tuning in, and I'll talk to you later.